What's it going to be like having been a head coach now going back for the last few years and going back to assistant and also sitting out this past years?
It's great. I tell you what, when the academic guy comes by, he walks by my office and goes to Les's office. So that's great. I don't mind it one bit. You know, it's actually been kind of refreshing. I was a head coach for 7 years. I did go back to Texas A&M last year in the spring and worked for Mike Sherman for 6 months. We had some family health issues that kind of dictated me changing my priorities and spending the fall in Tulsa. That's worked out great. My wife is doing great. She's excited to be down here in Baton Rouge. She's out looking for a house right now. I've given her a ceiling, so if she goes over that, we'll have a discussion about that later on. But no, she's excited to be here. She's excited about me getting back into coaching. I really enjoyed the fall. I had a great fall. It was very different. I tell people all the time, you don't know how much you miss until you're gone. And so I missed football. I really missed football, but I also realized there were a lot of things I had missed in my life. I got to watch my son's games, which was a lot of fun. Enjoyed that. Got to watch a lot of college football. And but by the end of it, you know, by about the middle part of November, it was time to go. It was time to get back in and look at different opportunities. And this was by far, in a way, it just jumped out at you, the chance to be the offensive coordinator at LSU and work for Les. So we're excited to be here as a family, and you know, not just me as a coach.
Coach, as a head coach, you had some unique motivational tactics, I guess, carrying the baseball bat around, the mouse traps in the
Yeah, we got our trainer. You know, he makes the baseball bats here, so I don't have to go down to Louisville Slugger anymore. Jack can give me one.
As a coordinator, can you still do some of those motivational things?
I think so. You know, I think as a head coach, you do certain things, and then as the assistant, you kind of take the lead of the head coach. And Les, that's one of the things about Les that I've watched him over the course of his career. He's a great motivator. I know he's done a great job here at LSU. The unfortunate thing for y'all is you didn't see the job that he did at OSU, at Oklahoma State, and I did firsthand because we had played them when I was at Texas A&M. We had played them when I was at Tulsa, and the reclamation project that he did there is second to none. I mean, it was amazing what he did, taking over that program, going to 3 bowl games in 4 years before he came here to LSU. So Les will take the lead on those kind of things, but I think you're always trying to find ways to be creative with the players and keep their attention. And you know, it's a long season. You know, it's changed in college football now. Those guys are here all year round. You know, they work out all year round. They're here all summer long. Training camp, 12 games now, hopefully 13, 14 games. You know, being in the SEC and playing for the championship and playing in the national championship game. But it's a long season, so I think you got to find different ways to keep them fresh and motivated.
If you could give us an idea of some of the other opportunities when you say LSU jumped out at. The other is what maybe you like about head coaching, being a head coach, and what do you see as an eventuality?
Sure.
Not obviously in the immediate future, but what do you
Sure.
see where you're heading?
Well, I had talked to a couple of different college situations, and then obviously the NFL, had been in the NFL before, so I talked to a couple of schools or teams in the NFL. I won't get specific about that because I don't think that's necessarily fair to them. But, you know, this was a very simple decision for me. I did come here, and I was supposed to go someplace and interview the next day, and had my wife came here, and my wife has been around a lot of football now. You know, I've coached for 20-some years, and I've been in the Big East, I've been in the Pac-10, I've been in the Big 12. Never coached in the SEC, but she had a chance while I was interviewing with Les and a couple of the other offensive coaches to go look around Baton Rouge and tour, and she came back and said, this is a great place, and she's pretty perceptive. She made one bad decision in her life, that was marrying me, but outside of that, she's done a pretty good job. So she was excited about coming here, and so again, when I looked, having seen what Les had done at Oklahoma State firsthand, and again, having a great appreciation for that, maybe a little better appreciation than we have here in the room just simply because I was there every day watching it. Seeing what he's done here at LSU, I wanted to be part of it. I wanted to be part of his staff, and I have a lot of respect for Les and the way he operates. Great man of character. I like the way he operates, you know, not only from a football standpoint, but off the field and the character development of our players and the way he involves our families. The best football game I've seen yesterday was Greg Studwara. Studrawa. I could just call him Stud.
Yeah.
Okay. Stud was full-time quarterback yesterday while all the coaches' kids were playing touch football out in front of the Cook Center there. So it's a great family atmosphere, and I think that's one of the things that Les creates. In terms of being a head coach again, I would certainly entertain that opportunity. Had a couple of chances to interview for some of those spots this year, but you know, I'm not dying to be a head coach again. If I die and I'm not a head coach again, that's going to be fine with me. I just want to be at a place where I can compete, where I get a chance to win, work with good people, and be in a place where my family's happy. So I don't have any immediate plans of being a head coach again. I'm not going to be looking to be a head coach again. If something happens, great. If it doesn't, and I stay at LSU for the next 10 or 15 years, that's great too. I'd love to do that.
Can I follow up on that then? I'm curious whether I want to be responsible in terms of reporting where your wife is at with her health and
Mm-hmm.
situation, and maybe talk about how your year away might have affected your outlook in terms of, you know, wanting to be involved in football, but not necessarily obsessing over
Sure.
ranking.
No, she's doing great. Really, the whole story is what happened is she was diagnosed with MS, and there's some great medicines out there right now for MS. And what's encouraging too is there's a lot of neurologists out there that think they're 3 to 5 years away from finding a cure, which would be huge for us and thousands of people. But in conjunction with that, she has a heart issue. And so she had to have a heart surgery to be able to go on to the MS medicines. And that's when I kind of went to Mike Sherman and I said, I don't know if this thing's going to work for me to be here right now. And Mike was unbelievable about it. I'm really happy for Mike in the season that they had, because I think he's not only a great football coach, but he's a great person. And so he was very understanding of my situation in terms of wanting to take a little bit of time to make sure my #1 priority, which is my wife and kids, were in good position, in good shape. But at the end of the season, like I said, everything's going great. She's doing great with the medicines. Her heart surgery, things that were on her EKG for 40 years are gone. Great doctors in Oklahoma City that took care of her there. And so everything is full speed ahead in terms of that, in terms of her health and the way she feels. And again, if she didn't feel good about it, then I want to jump back into coaching. But she feels great about it, and she's excited to be moving down here to Baton Rouge. She's really excited. She can't wait to get down here.
Okay. And then the second part was the year off. I don't know if you saw yourself before Louisville as just, you know, on that head coaching thing and very career focused, and now it's changed your perspective a little bit coming back.
I think to a certain extent it does. You know, it changes your perspective on life when you go through something like that, but it also strengthens your family. I know that when you go through tough situations, it does strengthen you, and you learn a lot about yourself and learn what's important. And football is a very important part of my life, and it's been something I really, really missed. It's been an important part of our family's life. My wife and kids have enjoyed being around college football, and I had 2 great years at Buffalo too in the NFL. So it's good to be back. And everybody's excited about it. I think that's the best way to phrase it. Not just myself, but my wife, my kids. You know, I've got 2 that will be in college next year. One's already in college, one's going to college, and then my littlest guy, Nick, is going to move down here in about 10 days. And when I had called him, the night Les offered me the job, I called him and I said, Nick, I said, I think I'm going to take this job at LSU. I think it's going to be a great situation. And I said, when do you want to move down here? And he said, how about tomorrow? So he's excited to get down here and get going. And they're down here right now. They'll fly back to Tulsa tonight, and then we'll get them down here in about 10 days.
Coach, what was it like working for Greg Williams at Buffalo?
Greg was great. What a phenomenal person, and one heck of a football coach. The hardest part about working for Greg was a defensive guy. And so every day in practice, you were seeing it. I mean, that guy blitzes from everywhere. I mean, it was like Canadian football. He's bringing 12 and 14 guys all the time, it looked like. So I think the hardest part about working for Greg was it was very challenging every day. But the great part about working for Greg is then when you got into the game, it was almost like, gosh, we're playing against a vanilla defense. You know, if we played somebody that wasn't nearly as aggressive as Greg was. So Greg is a great person, great football coach, and I learned a lot from Greg. I learned a lot about adversity from Greg, you know, because we took over a pretty tough situation there in Buffalo. We went 3-13 the first year in Buffalo, but Greg did a phenomenal job of keeping that team together and playing hard. I remember, you know, one of the moments that really illustrated that is we went to the Jets in the second to the last game of the season, and the Jets, if they beat us, they're in the playoffs. It's a done deal. If they don't, they've got to go all the way out to Oakland and beat Oakland to get in the playoffs. We went into the Meadowlands on the road and beat them. So to me, that's great evidence that Greg did a phenomenal job of keeping that team together, keeping that team playing hard. We're playing with our second-team quarterback, Alex Van Pelt. Our starter, Rob Johnson, had gotten hurt earlier in the year. So I thought he did a phenomenal job of keeping that team together. He's just a great football coach and a great person. And I text back and forth with him as this thing was going on, and I'm excited. I'm only an hour away, so I'll get to see him more.
Was it difficult in a way because he's philosophically pretty different than, say, you and Les as far as offense, you know, because he's a defensive guy?
No, not at all. I think they're both very, very good football coaches, and I think that's one of the things that Greg did a good job of with us on offense is he tried to present to us, hey, these are the things that really hurt me. These are the things that are a problem and are challenging to me from a defensive standpoint. So I think that's one of the things I like about our staff too. There's great communication on our staff here at LSU, and we'll spend a lot of time together just talking about, you know, hey, these are the things that hurt us and these are the things that really don't. And so it's a good situation from that standpoint. But Greg was great to work for. I really enjoyed working for him.